Well, hey folks, Real Honestly Witch and Rental, and this is Rapid Fire episode 77, where, yes, I'm going to talk about a few things, and I have also said that I was going to do less of these rants I said on the end of the year gaming Q&A stream that I did with the Derb, and I'm kind of laughing about it because I've done 4 of these in about the last month, and that's more than I had done in the previous couple months. But there are certain things I get fired up about, both in a positive way and in an angry way, and this is going to be a mixture of both. Now, I do want to say I'm a wrestling fan. This is just my opinions, and please, as fellow wrestling fans, leave your thoughts in the comments on these topics. But I'm not trying to tell anybody to feel differently than they already do. If you guys like any of the stuff that I'm talking about here, and you don't agree with me, cool, let's be civil, let's talk about it. Some of you I've already talked about on Twitter. Some of you may agree with me, some of you may disagree. But let's get on with this. I'm going to talk about something that people asked me about from pretty much the moment it began. And if you can tell by the t-shirt, you can probably tell what it is. It's a tampon spot that Priscilla Kelly, and I don't know who her opponent was involved in, and that was... the video was like up for a few days and then people like JR and Gail Kim and Road Dogg, and I guess Velvet Sky chimed in. I didn't see what Velvet Sky said because the dumb stupid bitch that can't wrestle her way out of a wet paper bag blocked me, and yes, I don't fucking care about Velvet Sky. I don't want anything terrible to happen to her, as she is a human being after all, but she's a lousy wrestler. This somehow got worse in the ring, despite the fact that she had apparently been wrestling for about 10 fucking years. How do you get any worse in there? How do you make it to where your fuzzy boots are more talented than you are? Fuck, even Lacey Von Erich tried more than Velvet Sky did, but let's get back to the whole tampon spot. I want to say I did not necessarily care for it. I didn't really think that the spot was something that I particularly cared for. But I say the same thing about Joey Ryan's dick spot. I say the same thing about a lot of this comedy wrestling bullshit that I see. But one thing I'm not going to do is dump on Priscilla Kelly like so many others have. And why? One, Priscilla Kelly is a dynamite athlete. She's an incredible performer. I've seen her live. She is somebody that, she had the best match against Thunder Rosa on a small indie show that I was at a few months ago. I got to talk to both women afterwards and say, hey, that was a really tremendous match. You both are incredibly talented. And really, I put them over because they're the ones out there taking the bumps, traveling the miles and everything and doing all this stuff. Priscilla Kelly's now husband, Darby Allin, was on that show and was on a recent show that I just went to. They're both incredible performers, and really big congrats to them for getting married. But what I'm frustrated about, whether I like the tampon spot or not is irrelevant. I may not care for it, but I'm not here to dump on Priscilla Kelly. I like her. I think she is a good person. I think she is a good performer. What bothers me is the same people that are like, oh, we need edgier stuff, or oh, I hate this, or whatever. This is a terrible thing, yet they pop for Joey Ryan's dick spot. Now, Joey Ryan, I got nothing against him as a person either. I don't necessarily care for that spot either, and I don't care for that kind of wrestling, but it's not for me. It's not for me, and that's really all I can add on that. Priscilla Kelly did not deserve any of the hate that she got, especially from Gail Kim. And Gail Kim, look, is an incredible performer, but tends to complain about a whole lot of stuff despite achieving some level of incredible fame. JR talked about how it was embarrassing. And look, JR has had years and years and years and decades in the wrestling business. He should not throw stones when his New Japan commentary is pretty embarrassing. And I get it. Not the same thing. But then you got Road Dogg. Yeah, Road Dogg dumping on Priscilla Kelly because Road Dogg is the poster child for positivity in PG programming. Oh, wait, oh, you didn't know, suck it. Welcome to the dog pound, pretending to hump guys in the pump handle slam. And yes, that was a number of years ago, but still, the fact that Road Dogg saying that, oh yeah, I wish I hadn't done that stuff, that's in the past. It's just Road Dogg dumping on that and dumping on somebody, oh, she burned her chance to come into WWE. If they took every single person that had done some kind of, and I'm not even saying a spot like this, but just some kind of comedy stuff that people didn't agree with, or something that was deemed disgusting or whatever, there are some people that wrestled in PWG that did a whole lot of weird shit and a whole lot of dumb shit that they wouldn't have hired if they had had that kind of criteria. Vince McMahon has done a whole bunch of bullshit, in his career. I mean, granted, he owns the company, but he did a whole bunch of stuff, greenlit a whole bunch of stuff for a whole bunch of talents to do. The tampon spot, sure, people may have found it disgusting, just the idea of it, but it's no more disgusting than the dick spot, and it's certainly not nearly as frustrating is what that stupid, fat fuck wrestler did, or, garbage human being did when he threw that cinder block at that guy's head. That guy deserves to be jailed. That guy deserves to be filleted for what he fucking did, because that's attempted murder right there. That's something people should get frustrated about. Not a, planned tampon spot and this kind of stuff. Or the dick spot or whatever, this kind of stuff. If it's not for you, okay. Unless they are going out of their way to blatantly offend you or blatantly, try to kill somebody on, TV or in the ring, like that Nick Gage guy when he wrestled David Arquette. And I don't know too much about Nick Gage, but apparently he ain't a good guy. That's the kind of stuff that people need to get upset. Or the cinder block guy that I mentioned earlier. That's something to get upset about. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But let's not go dumping on Priscilla Kelly. Oh, this kind of stuff. Or, oh, she should be ostracized. I saw some people saying she should die because of this stuff. Why? Because it offended you? Because you were that bothered by it? Seriously, fuck you guys for saying that. She's a good person. She ain't doing something to necessarily hurt somebody. It was a planned spot. Was it my cup of tea? No, but let's not dump on Priscilla Kelly. I hope that she comes back to one of the indie shows that I'm going to be going to at some point. One of the indie promotions I frequent. Because I would like to shake her hand and say, hey, you keep being you. It's like, she was nice enough to take a minute out of her day during the intermission, after I got some merch from her, to take a selfie and to briefly chat with her. So you know what? She's a cool person. And maybe I'm a little bit biased on that, but honestly, while I may not care for it, I was not offended by it. So let's quit that fucking shit. So that's my thoughts on, yeah, it's a bit long. Now let's get to something I'm really fired up about. The Alexa Bliss backstage awkward topless segment. Look, this is what bugs me. This is what fucking bugs me about people. Let's get the Attitude Era back. Let's get all this kind of stuff or whatever. Let's show beautiful women in, awkward situations and this kind of stuff. Yes, Alexa Bliss is a beautiful woman. She's not necessarily great in the ring. I admit that. In fact, if anything, I would say her skills have regressed a bit, but she also has had injuries. That was uncomfortable. She seemed off after, introducing the women's tag titles and then the whole segment with Heyman and then Otis doing whatever the fuck he was doing. That was really weird, but Alexa seemed uncomfortable. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, one, it's on WWE's YouTube channel. It's a really, really super awkward thing. It has over 2 million views, apparently, which is embarrassing. It just shows ooh, Alexa Bliss, this kind of stuff, oh, it's a possible topless thing. Alexa Bliss has been in way more revealing clothing and just her ring gear than she was there. And what the idea is there was a stagehand going to hand her coffee, kept knocking on the door, she didn't answer, walked in, cameraman walked in, and she's holding her top on, all scared like anybody would be, like a woman would be if somebody walked in on them and they were getting dressed, or a guy would be and holding a towel over him. That was uncomfortable, and that was beyond stupid. There are people defending it, and you know what? You guys want to defend it, okay. I don't get it, but it is what it is. But there are people like, oh, fans that are upset about that kind of stuff, or something that happened on SmackDown. You wouldn't have lasted 2 seconds in the Attitude Era. Motherfucker, for anybody saying that to me, I lived through the Attitude Era. Some of the people saying this are in their early 20s or whatever, or in their mid-20s, and probably don't remember the Attitude Era all that much. I do. I'm 38 years old, and I lived through the Attitude Era. And the Attitude Era, looking back on it, had some pretty disgusting shit and treated women really goddamn badly. Now I'm going to close the whole thing about the Alexa part, and then I'm going to get on to another thing with the women. But it was unnecessary. What did it help? It made Alexa seem uncomfortable. Yes, she is a beautiful woman. I can totally see why people like her. I think she's hot. I do. If there are others that don't, that's totally fine. There are plenty of beautiful but also talented women on the roster, and that's what kind of bothers me. Yes, you should play to the strengths of some people. There are some women that are never simply going to be good enough to be in the wrestling ring. Make them valets, this kind of stuff. But take them seriously as people. That is not where that is not what you're doing with Alexa Bliss. Oh, let's try to make her like the new Trish. Trish, while never the best in-ring performer, I mean, right there, Victoria was better, Mickey was better. Even though, Trish really did improve, you could argue Lita was better. Lita was flashier. I don't know if Lita was a better wrestler, but Lita was flashier. They were kind of neck and neck and stuff like that. Injuries undid some of what Lita could have done later in her career. But the whole point is Trish built her career despite all the bad booking and everything in the bra and panties matches and barking like a dog to Vince and that kind of stuff, which was back in 2000, 2001 and that kind of stuff. Leave that bullshit back there. You do not need this kind of stuff. It's one, WWE is going to be PG. Can you push the boundaries of PG? Yes, you can. You can have inadvertent blood. You can have this kind of stuff. Women in these kind of outfits and, you know, in their ring gear, skimpy ring gear, but also able to go out there and cut a good performance and wrestle in the ring. Yes, that is what it's all about. Focus on their ability. Focus on the fact that they are also beautiful women if they are. But first, key thing, ability. Focus on their abilities, their promo ability, their ability to wrestle in, you know, their ability to wrestle in between the ropes, their character work, their gimmick, this kind of stuff. If you just simply focus on their looks, I mean, yes, you could throw to somebody like Lana, but Lana at least is a good valet. And yes, Lana is a beautiful woman. Lana should not be in the ring because, God bless her, she just has not been able to get much better. It's not that she's not trying. She's not very good. But back to Alexa. She is somebody that if she ends up coming back to the ring, great. If she ends up having to retire at some point, keep her on the roster as a mouthpiece, as a valet to somebody. She could be a good manager because she is good on the mic. This did nothing. It did not pop a rain. It did not help. It did not do any good for anything. It really didn't. And you guys can claim that I'm trying to, you know, be all social justice if you want. I have no way, you know, no investment in defending Alexa like I personally know her. I just don't think that this was beneficial to her or anybody that was on the damn show. The stagehand looked awkward, and the camera people looked like fucking dicks. Where it's like, oh hey, let's catch her possibly topless. Oh look, pal, she's a hot blonde that's getting topless. Let's film her. That's my attempt at a Vince voice, and it was terrible. But this thing with Alexa was bad, and really seemed to make her uncomfortable the rest of the show. And then we get to the Mandy Rose, Naomi, and Jimmy Uso series of segments where Mandy and Naomi have had this feud going because Mandy is trying to flirt or get with Jimmy Uso, but also not trying to get with Jimmy Uso. She just hates Naomi because Naomi's in a happy marriage, or Naomi walks around like she owns the place. To set the idea of what I'm really uncomfortable with, like, I didn't like the whole thing up to this point. Derbinator actually, Derb did a full review of SmackDown Live solo, and credit to him, it was a great review. I was unable to watch it at the time because I was working. Had I watched it, I would have cut a really, really scathing promo here. And here's the deal. So I'm looking at my notes here really, really quickly. Here's the reason why it bothered me. So you got the Usos doing a photo op thing, and you got, Jay reads this note, and Jimmy thinks it's from Naomi, an early anniversary present. Oh, no, it's from Mandy, and Mandy left her hotel key. And then Mandy's talking backstage to Sonya while the cameras are on. Oh, hey, I hate Naomi, and I want to ruin her marriage and ruin her life. And even Sonya's like, that's too much. And Sonya, by the way, who, yes, still needs time to improve, but is somebody that probably should be used a little bit better than a backstage person. The backstage player, I guess, a match between her and Carmella got thrown out because Shane McMahon, the best professional wrestler in the world, had to have a birthday bash. Actually, it was his birthday, but that match got thrown out, but I digress. This whole thing with Mandy, Naomi, and Jimmy was pointless because Mandy says that, and it's like, okay, Mandy has improved in the ring way more than I thought somebody, based solely on looks. If I judged solely on looks, I would have thought, oh, they're trying to make her another Eva Marie. Or it's another Eva Marie, it's just a blonde Eva Marie. No, she actually has some ability and she is improving. I don't think she's great, but I can see why some people think she is very good. And that's totally fine. But if you want her to be taken seriously at all, having her be somebody that's just trying to get with another woman's husband, or, you know, just trying to ruin somebody's life by, like, pretending to get with their husband, that's not something good. Breakup angles of real life, involving real life couples never fucking work. The whole thing with Rusev and Lana and Aiden English, the whole thing with Rusev, Lana, Dolph, and Summer Rae, that was atrocious. So many others. I'm sorry if I forgot some of these. I mean, you did have the Nikki Cena thing, and they may be together, may not be together. Who the fuck cares? I don't care, honestly. I don't care. I think Nikki's dating somebody, but that's a whole other topic for another day. Mandy is somebody that if you want her to be taken seriously, her using her looks to get what she wants is not a bad thing, but She has not been able to showcase her ability enough to justify this. If she had been given more, I mean, yes, she's had flashes of brilliance, but she hasn't been given a sustainable program to show what she can do in the ring. If she needs time to improve, totally understand that. But don't put her in a promo or in a feud like this where it's not going to benefit anybody. And it isn't going to benefit anybody. Because it isn't doing any good for anybody here. Naomi isn't going to benefit from this. Jimmy Uso looks stupid. I mean, okay, he did do the whole thing where it's like Naomi ended up getting into the hotel room and attacking Mandy and all that stuff. But it was just, why? To what benefit? Having an undercard feud for the women on any show, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, that's okay. But the way the women are treated in NXT are treated a whole lot better than they are treated on the main roster. Yes, these are 9 times out of 10 beautiful women. And that's fine. That's totally fine to recognize that they are beautiful women, but if you don't recognize their abilities first, you're just treating them like sex objects, and then we're right back to 1999. And we don't want to go back to 1999, because 1999 had Sable, the biggest goddamn abortion to women's wrestling, maybe besides the Fabulous Moolah. Because Fabulous Moolah was a piece of shit that's hopefully burning in hell for what she did. But that stuff bothers me. You know, you wouldn't have lasted 2 seconds in the Attitude Era. Fuck you guys. I lived through that Attitude Era, and guess what? I enjoyed parts of the Attitude Era, but I look back on some of that stuff. Like, I watched the Foley's, title win versus the Finger Poke of Doom episode of Nitro, and I'm sorry, there were some great parts of that, and then there were some shit parts. Like the Terry Reynolds miscarriage angle. You want to go back to the miscarriage angle? No, you fucking don't. You don't want to go back to that bullshit. Treat the women seriously, and as serious athletes first, and beautiful women second, or you're not going to get anywhere. We're going to be right back where we were a few years ago. NXT got it right off the bat. With Paige and Emma, having a show-stealing match at TakeOver Arrival. And it took a while once you got the Bellas out of the way, finally, because the Bellas never belonged in the goddamn wrestling ring. At least, then women were able to be taken seriously. And yes, there are some women of varying abilities that hopefully get more opportunities. Hopefully Nia Jax doesn't, because Nia Jax is terrible. But there are plenty of women, both talented and with great ability, and also, promo ability or in-ring ability, but also with looks. Packaged together, you can promote that. But if you just promote based on their looks, it's not going to fucking work. Also, briefly, I want to talk about possible AEW arrivals. Goldust may go to AEW. Good for him. I hope that he is able to, once he gets his release. He's almost 50, but he may want to team with Cody a couple times and then have a backstage role. He's had enough time in WWE many times he's been with the company. So best of luck to him. It'd be a good get for AEW, honestly. And I don't think he would part with any ill will from the company. The Revival apparently have possibly requested a release, maybe. They deserve a whole lot more. If they have requested a release, they deserve to have their release. They won't get the release until their contract's up. They'll do what they did with Neville. Now, if their contract's up soon, then WWE should just say, once their contract's up, yeah, okay, you can go. I mean, honestly, they had all that time where they were injured in 2017, but there was no excuse for how they were used in 2018. Misused, sometimes not used well at all on TV. It was ridiculous. So hopefully the Revival can go to AEW and shine. If it doesn't happen in the next few weeks or months, because I don't think AEW has any show until their Double or Nothing event in April or May. I think it's May. If the Revival's contracts are up before that and they are able to go to that show, great. Apparently they got, a multi-millionaire or a billionaire that's funding that thing, so good. The Revival deserve to be treated a whole lot better, like they were in NXT. And now I briefly want to talk about the NXT call-ups. First impressions are everything. They had high package after high package after high package after high package. For Lars Sullivan, EC3, Nikki Cross, who wants to play with all the women. Stop that. I'm also thinking about it too. But anyway, Lacey Evans and Heavy Machinery. One, I do want to say that EC3's debut, Raw debut, and SmackDown debut is not exactly great. He was in a little backstage thing and a little, picture-in-picture thing, and then was posing in front of a mirror while Samoa Joe was walking by. That's good. Lacey Evans was talking backstage to Dana Brooke and Mickie James on Raw, and then did some kind of weird little promo thing, or, was backstage at SmackDown, I believe. Nikki Cross was in a match, a 6-1 tag on Raw, which was fine, and then wanted to play with Ray and was locked behind a cage. I don't know what the deal with that was. Nikki Cross has hopefully the highest ceiling of that because she is a really good athlete and a really good, good character. Heavy Machinery, they were used better on SmackDown because at least it was a little more comedy. The Raw segment was just totally awkward. That was bad. And yeah, Lars. I mean, I do want to finish up briefly by saying about Lars. I hope, of course, he's not watching this. Nobody from WWE is watching this, but everybody should send their well wishes to Lars Sullivan. Forget all that shit in the past where people dug up stuff from his social media from whatever, from 10, 11 years ago. Lars hopefully can, if he had anxiety or panic attacks, I believe anxiety attacks, if he needs time to recover, hopefully WWE takes his mental health seriously and he can recover 100%. Lars hopefully will be back by the Rumble. Who knows? We don't actually know. This is just reported stuff. But if he did have anxiety attacks, it needs to be handled with care. And hopefully he can recover and realize that he has a future in wrestling. And that, his health is certainly most important. But let's send our well wishes to Lars Sullivan at the end of this. So that's all I really have to say about that. So yeah, it's a bit of a long video, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Agree, disagree with what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. Spend real honesty with John Ritlin, and I will see you soon.